Welcome to Biligoloji, where we decode the latest breakthroughs in science.
Okay, we are jumping right in today with something that has absolutely sent shockwaves through the medical world. I'm talking about a test that was supposed to be one of the biggest leaps forward in early cancer detection, and it just completely fell flat. The fallout from this, it's only just beginning. And when I say fallout, I mean the impact was immediate. We're talking about the company behind this thing, Grail, watching its share price just plummet, cut in half. This is so much more than just a scientific setback, you know? It's a huge financial blow, sure, but it's also an emotional one for a field that was just so desperate for a win. So that's the big question, right? What exactly was this billion-dollar test? And how did it get so many people? We're talking patients, doctors, investors, so completely convinced that this was the future of medicine. Well, according to reporting from the New York Times, the Galleri test was designed to be a total game changer. And honestly, the concept behind it is brilliant. Imagine this, a simple blood draw. That's it. And from that one sample, it could supposedly detect these tiny fragments of tumor DNA floating around, spotting over 50 types of cancer long before you'd ever feel a single symptom. I mean, that was supposed to be the future of proactive medicine, right?
And this is where the promise just collides with reality. On one side, you have this incredible promise to cut the number of late-stage cancers by a full 20%. And on the other side, the actual result? No significant drop. The entire main goal of the trial, the whole reason it even existed, it just wasn't met. It flat out did not work as they hoped.
And believe me, the scientific community is not pulling any punches here. You have cancer researcher Adewale Adamson, who basically just said the trial failed, end of story. And he's right. For a study this massive, if there had been some huge positive effect, we would have seen it. It would have been obvious. The verdict is in, and it's a massive disappointment.
Okay, so that's a story about a failure to detect damage that's already there. But what about the kind of damage we can't even see? The kind that gets passed down through our very DNA? Our next story, wow, it shifts from a single failed test to a threat that could literally haunt us for generations. 20. Just think about that number for a second. What does that even mean? Well, in a brand new study, that's how many generations the health effects from a single chemical exposure were found to stick around. I'm not talking 2 generations or even 5. I'm talking 20. So you're probably asking, how is that even possible? How can something last that long? Well, the answer, according to a paper in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, comes down to something called epigenetic changes. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Imagine your DNA as a huge instruction manual. These epigenetic changes are like little chemical sticky notes put on the pages. They don't actually rewrite the words, but they tell your body, hey, read this part, or nope, ignore this part. And the scary thing is, those sticky notes can be passed down. And the consequences of these inherited sticky notes are just horrifying. Researchers exposed rats to a common fungicide, vinclozolin, and then they waited, and they watched. And their descendants, 20 generations later, mind you, had higher rates of kidney disease, increased sperm death, even fatal birth complications. And these animals had never been exposed to the chemical themselves. It's like a genetic echo of a poison, just passed down the line. Okay, wow. After that incredibly heavy news, let's pivot to something that might actually offer a glimmer of hope, a potential breakthrough in our fight against one of the most fundamental challenges of being human, aging. So, a study published in the journal Cell Stem Cell decided to take a really direct approach to this. They took a group of older adults, all experiencing that kind of age-related frailty that, reduces strength and endurance, and they gave them a single dose of stem cells. That's it. One dose. And the results? Honestly, they were remarkable. After just that one treatment, the people who got the highest dose could walk, on average, 60 meters farther. Now, that's not just some number on a chart. Think about what that means. For some people, that's the difference between being stuck at home and being able to walk to the corner store. It's a real, tangible return of freedom from a single infusion. All right, so we've gone from the microscopic world of stem cells, and now we're going to zoom all the way out to the global scale, because there's this deeply unsettling mystery unfolding in what should be the most stable, most pristine ecosystems on the entire planet. I want you to picture this, the most pristine, untouched rainforests you can imagine. These are vast expanses of jungle that have never seen a fire, never been touched by a chainsaw. By all accounts, they should be perfectly healthy. But something is terribly wrong. According to a report in News from Science, in these untouched Gardens of Eden, the birds are vanishing. And these aren't migratory birds that are losing habitat somewhere else. No, these are species that live their entire lives in one little patch of forest, and they are just disappearing.
This quote from ornithologist Biligoloji just perfectly captures the feeling among scientists. She said, "It's someplace that you think, this should not be happening." And that's exactly it. It's a chilling sign that even our most remote, most protected places on Earth aren't safe from a threat that researchers now think is climate change, just subtly unraveling the very fabric of the jungle.
Okay, to round things out, let's do a quick lightning round. 2 fast but totally mind-bending discoveries.
First up, a study from the journal Science Signaling. They found that acetate, which is just a simple byproduct of our metabolism, can actually enhance memory in mice. But here's the crazy twist. It only worked on the females. It seems the acetate was literally changing how their learning genes were expressed in their brains. It's this fascinating link between what we eat and how we remember, but it seems to be completely gender-specific.
And for our final story today, I have a question for you that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, maybe Avatar or something. Do trees actually glow? Believe it or not, according to Science Advisor, the answer is yes. For half a century, this was just a theory, right? The idea was that the massive electrical charge from a thunderstorm could travel up a tree and make it literally glow. Well, now, for the very first time, scientists have actually captured it on camera. It's this ghostly ultraviolet shimmer called a corona, coming right off the leaves. It's real. So, let's think about what we've covered. A major medical hope that was completely dashed. A toxin that leaves a shadow 20 generations long. A potential fountain of youth from stem cells? It really makes you wonder, which of today's scientific shockwaves is actually going to be the one that changes our future the most? Thanks for tuning into Biligoloji. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next episode.